Good morning, everyone watching. My name is Jake Straat, and I'm joined by my good friend
Zuzz Rains.
for the Rats Get Fat podcast. We are sitting down in a lovely tattoo shop in Los Angeles
Yeah.
at Enjoy Tattoo.
Yeah, I try to enjoy them.
Yeah, me too, when I get one.
It can be hard sometimes, but
Yeah, they fucking hurt.
but they're the best.
Yeah, we're sitting down with a very special individual who owns Enjoy, our pal Austin Maples. Hey, Austin.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to be here, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here with you guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Yeah.
the opportunity.
Thank you so much for having us in your shop.
Dude.
This is rad, man.
It's a cool
Thanks for being
place.
here.
It's like it's incredible. Nice little hole in the wall tattoo shop. There's from the outside, we didn't know the
Yeah,
Uber
we
dropped us off, and we were like, uh-oh.
Where the fuck is this place?
Yeah, it's cool.
We were,
I kind of
walking
like that.
past.
Yeah, it's funny. The shop that I learned at was in the hood in East Oakland, and it was very similar. You'd get dropped off and not want to be where you were, and then you went inside, and it was like super beautiful and serene.
Sick.
So
It's like a little oasis.
kind of recreated the same thing. Yeah.
Paradise. It's really cool. For everyone watching at home, hello. I'll include in the video a nice little walkthrough of the tattoo shop so everyone can see the beautiful environment we're in at Enjoy. And yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool to be out here. It's interesting that you kind of grew up north of San Francisco
Yeah.
and you learned how to tattoo in Oakland, was it?
Yeah. I started my apprenticeship in Santa Rosa, my hometown, and then I finished it in Oakland. So the guy that was teaching me opened a shop in Oakland, and I followed him there.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice part of the world up there. Eh? It's very different to Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's crazy. Very different. I mean, you get some of the same stuff here, but you got to leave the city to see it. You know, the outdoors.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a little bit more in the middle of it up there.
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of polarizing. We spent all of last week up in San Francisco. We've come down to LA specifically to talk to you. And I don't know. I feel like we totally underestimated LA. We thought, to be honest with you, we thought we weren't going to like it. A lot of people back home were like, I don't know. They're pretty dismissive of LA. And we thought, we don't really want to be there for that long anyway. You know, didn't really think about it. Got out here and we love it.
Oh man, I'm glad you like it. I kind of felt the same way. I mean, growing up in the North Bay, there was this thing where even in high school, like everybody would say, fuck LA. I'd never even been to LA, but I would just say, yeah, fuck LA. And then I don't know what it is. There's some sort of rivalry, but the first time I came here, I was like, why fuck LA? This is awesome. I love this place.
It is. It is awesome. It's like
Yeah.
a melting pot of all different cultures. There's incredible food here. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's sick. We haven't really gone and done like the touristy stuff. Like you were saying before, you know, most people just come here and do Venice Beach or Hollywood. We haven't done either of those things and we're not going to. So I feel like we may have seen a little bit of LA that other people might not have seen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think the thing about LA is it's overwhelming. It's just big, you know. It's like you meet somebody coming from Oklahoma and they go to San Francisco and that overwhelms them. And it's pretty chill there. So even people, I think, from San Francisco or the North Bay that come here, it could be overwhelming. But there's a lot to offer. And if you don't get overwhelmed and can explore a little bit, I think there's some pretty amazing things to experience.
For sure. Well, to be honest, San Francisco overwhelmed the hell out of us.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing a lot of what was sort of in the Tenderloin and all it's pretty rough out there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Coming down here, yes, it's still got that, but it I don't know. To me anyway, it seems safer here.
Yeah, I feel like in LA it seems like part of the ecosystem. Like in San Francisco, the unfortunately like unhoused people and the kind of the fentanyl epidemic and stuff, it seems a little bit classist, like to me at least.
Yes.
Like people are like appalled or disturbed by it, where in LA it seems like just a part of the ecosystem. Like
For sure.
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like San Fran's also a lot of a smaller place as well. It's a lot more densely packed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably going to be a lot more noticeable, whereas LA is like super spread out. Like there's a lot more room to breathe, I think, out here, maybe.
Yeah, I agree. I think even in San Francisco too, it's quite segregated though.
Yeah.
Like you said, you go to the Tenderloin and like that's what's happening. And
That's
then
the place.
you go to the Mission and there's like a lot less of it. It's
Yeah.
kind of bizarre. Where LA, it's like just kind of everywhere and all the other stuff's happening at the same time too. So it's, you know, it's sad, but I think, it's a little bit more noticeable in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Austin, you're 32 years old currently. What got you interested in tattooing? Like all those years ago, back living up in Santa Rosa, like what was the, tell us a little bit about the introduction in your own life to like even becoming interested in tattooing or.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a hard one. I feel like I audit that constantly because people ask me that. But it started at a really young age. When I was 9 in school, we had like a school project, draw a picture of yourself as an adult. And I drew a picture of me covered head to toe in tribal tattoos.
Sick.
And I'd never even been around somebody with tattoos. Like at the time, there wasn't a lot of tattooed people in Sonoma County. And my parents were like, why do you want to look like this? And I have no clue. I don't even remember that, but I had some vision of it like really young, and I don't know where that came from, but that started coming to life maybe around like 11 or 12. Gave myself a little tattoo in class with like a Bic pen ink and a thumbtack off the wall. And then when I was 14, I got a fake ID and started going to tattoo shops, and I had a job at my dad's restaurant at the time, and I just was like trying to get as many tattoos as I could, like to look how I wanted to when I was 9. So I don't know, that part was like really subconscious. I don't have a good answer for that, but that led me to being in tattoo shops like a lot from 14 to 18. When I turned 18, had access to going to the shops that were a little better, that wouldn't take my fake ID. It was like my opportunity to go get a good tattoo, and I just loved it in there. I don't know why. They were mean to me. It fucking smelt weird. Everybody was kind of standoffish, and I just felt comfortable in like this strange place and just kept, I just didn't leave basically. So, I don't really know. That's a hard question because I didn't ever want to be a tattooer. Like I didn't have like a vision of, I'm going to be a tattooer or I'm going to try and tattoo, or I was never working towards that. It kind of fell in my lap.
That's very interesting. Hey.
Yeah.
It's I sort of had the same sort of instance where I was a really serious collector and then, had the opportunity to kind of like learn how to tattoo. And it's like a life changer, eh?
Yeah, I mean, it changed my life. I couldn't imagine doing anything else. I talked to the guy that taught me to tattoo about it way later in my career, like recently, and asked him what he saw in me then. Because looking back at it, like, I wouldn't have hired me as a tattooer or asked me to apprentice. I feel like I could barely draw. I was annoying. I was just like this rambunctious little like graffiti writer, skateboarder kid that wouldn't leave the shop. They would ask me to leave and I would just like keep showing up all the time. Like, and I just wanted to get tattooed. I didn't want to be a tattooer, but in hindsight, after being in the tattoo industry for so long, I was performing the way that somebody would want an apprenticeship would. Yeah. I was at the shop every day, bringing beer and donuts and cigarettes and getting tons of tattoos and spending all my money. And like, they would ask me to sweep the floors and answer the phone and clean the toilet. And I didn't know they were like vetting me to be an apprentice. I was just like, oh, you guys need help? Sure, I'll do it. And I was just helping. And one day he asked me while he was tattooing me after hours, he was like, all right, man, so you want to learn how to tattoo, right? And I was like, no, I don't want to tattoo. And he was like, what do you mean you don't want to tattoo? And I was like, I don't want to tattoo at all. I've never even thought about it. I have a job. And he was like, why are you here all the time? And I was like, because you guys are my friends. And he was like, we're not your fucking friends. We're so mean to you. Like, why would you hang out here? And I was like, I don't know. I like you guys. Anyways, in hindsight, I realized they were like hazing me a little bit to be an apprentice. And I guess where I was getting to with that was, I guess the thing that he said he saw in me was I was drawing a lot. Like at the shop, I'd mostly draw graffiti, but I draw little characters and stuff. And I didn't like my drawings, which is what he liked about me. Like I had an aspiration to be better than I was, and I didn't. You know, he basically, the way he said it was, most people that would draw the way you did at that point would be like, think they were the shit, and you thought you sucked. And I knew you had like an aspiration for more, and I was humble. So he was like, I figured I could teach you how to be good at tattooing. And maybe he was right.
Look at you now, man.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
I couldn't draw to save my life when I started, so.
I think it's an important thing as well. Like, I don't know, you see a lot of people that like just get their fucking foot in the door with drawing and kind of figure it out, and it kind of goes to their head pretty quickly. It's important to like have a hunger for more and like to register the fact that you could be better.
Yeah, I mean, I still have it today. I mean, nothing's ever good enough, you know? It's like, I mean, I'm definitely feel a lot more confident now than I did then, but
100%.
yeah, I mean, I think if you get complacent.
Yeah, that's when you start to plateau and stagnate.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You go downhill.
This season of Rats Get Fat is proudly sponsored by our friends at Industry Tattoo Supply. They're an Australian family-owned business who put artists first, and very much like us, they're heavily invested in cultivating tattoo history. If you're interested, you should definitely check out their YouTube channel and the blogs on their website. You'll find info on tattoo laws and regulations coming into effect, coil maintenance, advice from artists, and loads of other good stuff. They also believe in innovation, committing a minimum of $30,000 annually towards artists-owned new product developments. So if you've got ideas on new products, they can actually help bring those ideas to fruition. If you're interested, you should definitely check out their Artist Amplifier. Links to everything can be found in the description. A massive thanks to Adam and the folks at Industry Tattoo Supply for supporting the show. Now back to the episode.
You know?
Well, you're still hungry today, though. You were telling us you work 7 days a week and have done all year.
Yeah.
No days off. You're just like on the grind, making it happen.
Yeah, 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, all year so far.
It's interesting because now, look, I've followed you for a while on Instagram. From Instagram, I don't see any of the behind the scenes stuff except for your tattoos. Except for like stuff like Austin just put out a book. Jump on and buy that.
Thank you.
And behind the scenes, like I don't see any of the hard work, really. You know what I mean? It's interesting because like I do believe that a lot of people kind of get into this with potentially the wrong intentions, and then, you know, they don't want to work hard. They want to try and take it easy and just make pictures and like do tats and like, you know, have an easier life. But in reality, like behind the scenes, all of like the most successful tattooers that I know have their nose on the grindstone. They fucking work for it, man. They're still working for it. They were working back then. They're still working for it today. It's like this incredible thing. So it's awesome, man. It's super inspirational. And I think a lot of people can get a lot out of that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I've been working pretty much 7 days a week since I started tattooing. I mean, it's been 15 years now of that. And, you know, tattooing, I don't know, it's one thing at a time. At some point, it's like you're just focused on doing a clean line, and you're spending 7 days a week trying to do a clean line. And at some point, you figure that out and then put that effort towards something else. It's like you said, as soon as you get complacent and plateau, it's like at some point I was focusing on what the shop smells like and like what the lighting's like, and that's what I'm spending 7 days a week obsessing over. But it's like, how do you push and make a better experience? And yeah, I mean, have you ever heard of that concept, the 10,000 hours?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's super important. It's like, you know, the average person takes them 10 years to spend 10,000 hours like practicing something, and if you do it 7 days a week, it could take you 5 years. And the harder you work and the longer you do it, the better you get. And I mean, people ask me all the time, like, how do you stay busy, or how do you be successful as a tattooer? And I just tell them, work more and be nice to people. Like, that's all you got to do at anything, really. And you'll be pretty good at it.
For sure. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Work more and be nice to people.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I feel like there's usually like 3 of those things, and if you've got 2 of them, like you'll be just fine. You know, you can either be great at what you do and be great to be around, and you'll be just fine. And the third thing is like producing products and stuff on time, and you can be on time. If you got 2 of those things, like you'll be just fine. But if you got 3, you're on for a fucking winning combo.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hard thing with tattooing. I was just kind of telling somebody about this the other day. I'm like, you could be the mechanic, the artist, or the hospitality person. Yeah. And if you can do one of those 3 things, you can be successful. If you can do 2 of those 3 things, you'll be very successful. And if you can do all 3, you'll be a star. Yeah. And, you know, there's lots of tattooers that are trying really hard to do it, but don't get the art or the mechanics, but they're really nice and they're super busy. And there's lots of people that are really, really good, but they're not nice, and they're successful, but maybe not as successful as they could be. Yeah. And then there's the people that make insane art, but like, you know, struggle in the other 2, and they're really busy, you know? So just grab onto one and do it 7 days a week, and you'll figure it out.
Yeah. Then you can kind of move on the other and try to figure out that side of things, I guess.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's a business. I think that's the thing. A lot of tattooers, but a lot of people that get into tattooing don't see the business aspect, like you said, the behind the scenes. They just assume you're just having fun, willy-nilly, just making art on people, but there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, there is a lot more to it. You know, late nights, early mornings, a lot of stuff that people wouldn't see behind the scenes, to kind of keep the gears going and keep it all in motion.
Yeah, it's just like any other art, though. It's like you go to an art gallery and see an Andy Warhol, and you never get to see him, what it took to get to the end of that painting, you know? And same as you. It's like you see me on Instagram, you see the painting at the end, but I don't have time to share every little piece that goes up to it, you know?
Yeah,
for sure.
So, yeah, I think people, but I mean, if you learned how to tattoo, like I guess the way I did, you spend every day in the shop, you see what happens behind, and maybe that's what it was inspiring to me. It's like, oh, you guys are working your ass off. This is hard. This is fun. It's like buzzing, and I like working. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah,
it's interesting because people coming in to get tattooed would witness that. Have you ever had a younger person come in and like do to you what you did to the people who taught you to tattoo? Like come and hang out heaps, like mop floors, and you just you're like, dude, get out of here, kid. You know?
No, I haven't. I mean, I think my coworker Graham is probably the closest instance, but he had been tattooing for 3 or 4 years, so he wasn't looking for an apprenticeship. But you know, when I opened the shop, it was supposed to be a private studio. And when I was building out the shop, Graham was here every day, like painting and helping me without me ever asking him to be here.
Yeah.
And I knew he was going to ask for a job while he was doing it. And he got the job. So that's the only instance I have.
Okay. Okay. This season of Rats Get Fat is sponsored by the Good Guy Supply. Since 2006, this Canadian team of seasoned tattoo professionals has crafted quality supplies, and they are obsessed with every detail from their tools to the artistry. They are committed to delivering premium supplies at affordable prices. Whether you're tattooing in the Northern Hemisphere or the Southern Hemisphere, check them out. You will not be disappointed. A huge thank you to Good Guy Supply for supporting our show. Now back to the episode. It's so rad that you kind of were given the chance and you didn't even expect it, you know? Like all the tattooers would have been thinking that you were hopefully expecting something from it, but in reality you were just stoked to hang out with all these tattooed people that were being rough.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting. I don't know. I mean, you guys have talked to a lot of tattooers. I feel like most of the really successful tattooers I know weren't aspiring to be a tattooer. It kind of found them somehow. I mean, there's something magical about tattooing. I think there's lots of people that do it, but there's some people that tap into the magic, and I don't think most people aren't conscious of it. It's like you're drawn to it. And I mean, there's a lot of people that see it as a monetary thing. I mean, that's a funny thing for me. I didn't even know that you could make money tattooing when I started. I quit my well-paying job and was like, I'm just going to be broke for the rest of my life, but I'm going to I'm going to do this. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And I think some people get into it thinking that it's like a good financial decision, and that's the wrong reason to do it. I mean, it can be, but you're not going to get that if that's your reason for doing it.
Exactly.
It's all about intention
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the magic. I think since I started tattooing, like, I mean, well, you know, like I said, I've audited what I was attracted to, and I like connecting with people. I think since I was young, like, and even now, I think my purpose in life is connecting and inspiring. I really like talking to people and being inspired by them and communicating and like feeling vulnerable. And I don't know, there's something special about that. I don't know what it is, but I've always been drawn to it. And that's what I liked about getting tattooed, is like how vulnerable the experience is, and
Yeah.
being with this tough, scary dude. And usually they like soften up and you're in pain, and like letting them put you through pain and having this experience together. And then even getting tattooed, having like positive and negative experiences, and how much that impacted the design for me as a collector before I started tattooing. Like, that was my draw to it. And I notice it now. Like, I have a really good tattoo that I had a terrible experience and I don't like the tattoo. And then I have a terrible tattoo that I had a great experience and I love that tattoo so much. And that's why I say, to be successful, be nice to people, because people remember the experience every time they see it, whether they're reliving the memory or not. Their mind knows.
100%. We always talk about that, like the fact that like the experience is everything when it comes to tattooing. Like, and I feel like maybe it's the fact that you're sitting there, you're in pain, you're kind of having to like be in the moment. Every time you look at like a tattoo that you've received in the past, I feel like you can probably like remember exactly where you were. But yeah, I feel like it kind of etches itself into your memory. I know. Do you feel like that when you look at your tattoos? Do you kind of get transported to that kind of point in time?
Yeah, I think so. I pay a lot of attention to it now, because the reason I said that was the word intention. Like, I put a lot of intention into what my customers' experience is like. And I've started to think about all the experiences I've had and which tattoos I like the most and what that experience was like. And I tell my clients about it a lot. Like, I show them tattoos I spent $1 million on that are really beautiful that I could totally live without. And I'll show them like weird little cat tattoo I have that some random person did that was really fun, and that I would have paid $1 million for that experience.
Yeah.
And how important that is. But then back to what we were saying about like the three things, like the customer service, the art, or the mechanics. It's like when you can give all three of those to a client, it's just an extremely valuable thing to have.
Yeah, it's rare. It can be rare for a lot of clients. I think people will come back time and again for that. You know, it's not just the work itself. It helps.
Yeah.
Helps if the work's solid and it looks good. You know,
It's not the most important thing,
it's
though.
not the most important thing, which is funny. Yeah, I think it's fascinating because it's a lot of the time it can be the hardest thing for some people to learn. Like, some people are really great at drawing, but sometimes they just don't get people.
I think that's the hard part about tattooing, is that's why I said the money thing. Like, I think there's a lot of people that are really like art, and to be a good artist, you need to be quite sensitive. Like, if you really want to convey something in what you're creating, and sensitive people usually have some sort of social anxiety because they're quite sensitive to other people's energy. And I think a lot of artists realize like, oh, this is a way to monetize creating art, because if I want to be an oil painter, you know, there's a very low chance I'll be able to eat food off that. So they get into tattooing. But the biggest part about tattooing is you have to touch somebody else and be with them for hours and make them comfortable to change their physical appearance for the rest of their life. And maybe they don't see that part before, and then struggle in that moment. That's the most common thing I hear from tattooers is, I love tattooing, but the hardest part is the client. And for me, that's my absolute favorite part. Like, I can't wait to sit on the couch and like talk to my client for a while before I tattoo them and get to hang out with them.
Yeah, 100%. Especially if it's like a regular and you've built a rapport and you're like, hey, dude, what's been happening?
I even like the person I don't know, like watching somebody come in and, you know, they're usually nervous. There's not a lot about me on the internet. Like I look like a pirate. Like they don't, my tattoos are really dark and scary. Like they don't know if I'm going to be nice or not. And I like seeing somebody sit down and be nervous and like see how fast I can watch them relax and feel calm and safe and then talk about tattoos so that we can have like a, you know, a good, honest, open, like vulnerable conversation about how I'm going to change the way you look for the rest of your life.
For sure.
It's huge, eh? It's really important.
Yeah.
The client aspect. And like, I don't know, I'm kind of stoked that not everyone does look after the clients because it gives me the opportunity to look after that person instead and give them a better experience and show them, you know, what I can do for them, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's important to have contrast. Contrast is really important in every aspect of life, you know?
Do you guys know much about like the 3 Michelin star system for food?
No.
Well, I mean, I think you guys have it in Australia, but the Michelin rating system for restaurants is you can have like 1 to 3 stars. And the first star is for food, the second star is for service, and the third star is for atmosphere. And I think tattooing, like the closest equivalent to the tattoo industry is restaurants. Like there's tons of different flavors, tons of different types of service, marketing, but everybody eats, you know. It's the same with tattooing. Like anybody that wants a tattoo might want something different price point, different atmosphere, different art, different, you know, they might be living in a different location where the access to it's different. So I think about tattooing and the Michelin rating system. Like I want to be a 3 Michelin star tattooer. I mean, I want to make sure you get a good product, but I want to make sure that the customer service is just as good as the product and the atmosphere is just as good as those. And yeah, I think focusing on those is really important.
Yeah. That's really, really fascinating. I never even thought about it that way.
No, it's a whole fresh perspective.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, there's definitely different flavors.
It doesn't mean any of them is wrong. Like eating at the McDonald's or the Maccas, as you would say, of tattooing. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, it might be cheaper. You're not going to get that atmosphere in the customer service, but you'll leave with a tattoo. And it doesn't mean it's not a tattoo, you know?
100%.
And if you want the best experience possible, it might cost more, but you might get all of those aspects to it and leave feeling like it changed your life.
Yeah. There's always this kind of rule of thirds. You know? It's surprising how much that comes up, eh?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Even in like creating a traditional tattoo, like the rule of thirds.
Yeah.
What?
Santa.
No witnesses?
Yeah.
It's like some Illuminati shit, eh?
Yeah,
It's
it is.
super
We're like,
interesting, eh?
we're gonna have
The
Men in
Illuminati,
Black.
the triangle.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
3 sides.
Yeah, 3. It's an important number.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. We were talking about how different it is coming from Australia to over here. But then you dropped the bomb on us that you had spent shitloads of time back in Australia.
Yeah.
And you said, so you finished your apprenticeship and it was like the first year after then?
Yeah, so my apprenticeship was a year long. I actually lived inside the tattoo shop for that year.
Oh, really?
And it was me and mainly the guy that taught me to tattoo. And then, to abbreviate the story, before I tattooed, I worked in my dad's restaurant. He had sold a franchise of the restaurant to a guy in Australia. Mm-hmm. I trained the guy to run the restaurant, and then I started tattooing. So prior to tattooing, I was going to graduate high school and move to Australia and work at the restaurant.
Yeah.
And then I started my apprenticeship. I graduated my apprenticeship and still had an interest in Australia because it was kind of a plan of mine. So I decided to get a work visa and move over there and try to tattoo instead of working at the restaurant, and just did it.
That's interesting. It was always kind of on the horizons.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, I started traveling when I was 14. I had a family friend that was quite well off, and in the summers they would take their family overseas, and they would always pay for me to go with them.
That's
just
nice.
to be like a friend of the family.
Nice.
Yeah, and I was like obsessed with just getting out of America and seeing the world. So once I had a job, I mean, I learned that you could kind of tattoo anywhere, and I hadn't experienced that yet, but I still had Australia in my mind. So I just said, fuck it, let's go there and figure it out. And it was crazy. I was 18. I went there with $500 and no job, and I spent the $500 in the first like day of being there, and I had nowhere to live, no money, no job.
Yeah, holy.
It was insane.
On the other side of the fucking world.
Yeah, dude. It was like the most humbling year of my life. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's that kind of shit that like really teaches you about life, I guess, is like struggling and
Dude, it
having to
was a
kind of pick
struggle.
yourself up.
I mean, I stole a lot.
Yeah.
I had no money, man. I was just
Yeah, you
stealing
gotta-
food from the grocery store and like getting constant tickets on the train. I couldn't pay for them, so I was just taking the train everywhere, and
Sick.
it was yeah. I mean, I definitely learned how to hustle.
Yeah.
I got a job really quick and became really busy. I mean, that's a good example. I was terrible at tattooing, and I was the busiest person at this shop. And I was going out every night. I'd bring 50 to 100 business cards, and I would pass out all of them. And I'd just go to clubs and make people come get tattooed the next day. I'd be like, how much money do you have? They'd be like, oh, I want a tattoo. How much do you have? They'd be like, I could spend like $30. I'd be like, tomorrow at 12, let's go. And I'd just tattoo as many people as I could. And
Yeah.
it was cool. I was hungry. I needed to eat. I was like, I need that $30. I gotta buy a cheeseburger tomorrow or something.
It's interesting because Australians, we love US people, people from the United States.
Yeah.
So like getting a tattoo from someone from the United States, like it's sick, it's different. Like people would have like responded well to that.
Yeah.
Like everyone back home says the same about going to America and tattooing in America. They're like, it's polarizing. People love Aussies. You guys will be just fine. If you want a tattoo out there, like you'll be busy or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think I knew that when I was there when I was 19. I think it definitely was a marketing strategy I wasn't aware of. Like I didn't know that you guys liked American tattooers so much. This was pre-Instagram too, so I didn't know shit about anything. I was just there.
Were you in Melbourne? Or
Yeah, I
it
was in
Sydney?
Melbourne.
Okay, you're in
Yeah.
Melbourne. Yeah. Oh, cool. That's a good place to be. Like, you learn a lot.
Dude, it was amazing. Yeah, the first week I was, who Johnny Dollar is?
Of
Oh, yeah,
course.
of course.
Yeah, the first week I was there, I met him. He was the first tattooer I met in Australia.
Okay.
I met somebody on the street. I needed to buy tattoo supplies, and I was like, do you know? Like I said, this is pre-Instagram. I had like a Nokia brick phone, and I didn't have Wi-Fi or any, I was just asking people, do you know where you buy tattoo supplies? And they're like, yeah, you go to this place, Johnny Dollars. It's over here. I took the train, found it, and he was the first tattooer I met in Australia.
That's
And,
incredible.
yeah, I was like, this is so sick.
It's wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really crazy.
We're hopefully planning a trip down to Melbourne next year sometime to do like a whole season in Melbourne, and we really want to talk to him.
Oh, yeah, you should.
Yeah.
He's a really cool person.
Yeah, he is. Did you get tattooed from him at all?
No, I wanted to. I went 3 times to get tattooed by him, and he was closed.
Oh, no.
And one of the times that I went back, he was taking a break from tattooing, but I got tattooed by Cindy Ray instead. which
Wow.
was- it was amazing.
That's huge.
yeah, it was so cool.
Yeah, what did you get from Cindy Ray, if you don't mind me asking?
It's on my thigh. It's just a little sparrow.
Cool.
Yeah,
Rad.
she was funny.
Yeah.
She kissed
I
me
bet.
on the mouth.
Did she?
Yeah. What? I went with a group of dudes, and she had her eyes on me right when we got there.
Yeah.
She shook everyone's hand and then tried to kiss me right when I got there.
No way.
And then went inside to set up, and everybody was like, dude, she just did she try to kiss you on the mouth? And I was like, I think so. And
She likes you.
yeah. And when we were leaving, everybody was like, dude, you got to give her a kiss. And I was like, I'm gonna. And then right when we were leaving, she tried again, and I just leant in and kissed her on the mouth, and she was just glowing. It was
That's out of
crazy.
control.
Dude, it was so insane. We went in and it was like 6 tattooers that were going to get tattooed. And yeah, we walked in and she was like, all right, you guys all want to get tattooed? And we were like, yeah. And she was like, you're going first to me. And I was like, okay, I'll go first. And she's like, what do you want to get tattooed? And I was like, I don't know, maybe a sparrow. And she's like, all right, you're going to get it right there. And like pointed next to my hand. And I was like, okay. And she's like, all right, take your pants off. But actually, this is crazy. So there was actually a tattooer getting tattooed. She had to finish the tattoo first. So we came in, said hi, and we were watching him get tattooed. And she's wearing white gloves, and she's tattooing this dude, and he is pissing blood.
Oh, no
like,
way.
he's just gushing blood. She was just beating the shit out of this tattoo. And all the tattooers I was with were like, oh, my God, dude, I don't know if I want to get tattooed by her. And I was like, well, whatever. Like, let's do it. And she finished the tattoo. It was like just, I don't know, just straight out of the 40s. Like, whatever safety, bloodborne pathogen stuff we do now, like, none of it applied. I mean, I don't want to call her out, but it was gnarly. It was so crazy.
Yeah.
And so I got my tattoo, and then she was like, all right, who's next? And they were like, oh, we ran out of time. I don't think we're going to get
What? You were
tattooed.
the
I was the only one that got tattooed.
Oh, bro.
Good
How
on
was
you,
it?
Austin. Yeah, how was it?
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah?
It was so good. It
It's
was,
sick.
yeah, it was like, yeah, it was such a good experience.
Oh,
And she
that's
told us
awesome.
some crazy stories. It was
bet.
really fun.
She would have. Like,
Yeah.
Australia, it's really interesting. Like, Australia's got a really rich history with tattooing, but all the older guys, like, we created this podcast to try and catch a few of those stories because all the old guys all lived by the same rules of, like, don't tell nobody nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So no one wrote anything down, and, like, Australian tattoo history is somewhat lost to time. So by going and getting a tattoo from Cindy Ray, hearing a couple of those stories, like, that is a fully life-changing event.
Yeah, that's iconic.
Dude,
yeah,
It was
that-
so cool.
That's huge.
Yeah, the guy that one of my I used to go guest at Third Eye Tattoo, and Marshall that owned, I think he just maybe closed the shop, but the guy that started it, he learned how to tattoo at her shop, so it was a cool connection.
Okay.
It was like a family reunion going with him. It was nice.
Because a lot of like Americans would come to Australia and they wouldn't know who Cindy Ray is really, or like be able to source that connection to go about getting a tattoo from her. But I'm so glad you did. And that's so funny that she sort of picked the spot and everything.
Yeah.
There.
It was so funny, man.
She was after you. That's fucking funny as.
Yeah.
I actually have Australia tattooed on my forearm. I
Oh,
don't know if I
sick.
showed you guys that.
Oh,
No, you didn't.
that's wonderful. Who did that tattoo?
Andrew McLeod
Oh,
at
okay.
Chapel. That was my first tattoo on this arm.
Oh, rad. It's a good one.
Dope.
Yeah, it was so amazing. I got it on Australia Day.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Aussie.
Yeah.
Oi, oi, oi.
Unreal.
Sick.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
that's
sick,
awesome.
man. It's cool you got it's cool you've got ties to Australia. If you ever come back, you should look us up, man. Come to Cairns.
I will.
We'll go
Yeah.
out to the Great Barrier Reef, or we'll go find a big saltwater crocodile or whatever.
That'd be amazing.
Or do some tats. Like,
Yeah, I got to go further north. Maybe next time I come, I'll spend time up there instead of.
Yeah. That's where, like, I don't know, down south is really cool, but if you go to the north, that's like the real, like, I don't know, outback, like Aussie.
Aussie shit.
It's real Aussie.
Yeah, I never got to see any of that. I did get one cool experience when I was driving from Brisbane to Sydney. I was on this like long highway. I hadn't seen a car for like 5 hours. And this kangaroo jumped like over a fence in front of the car. And we just were following it, driving like 2 miles an hour while he was hopping down the road. And no joke, at some point he like jumped over a fence and started running into the bush. And we just pulled over to watch him. And he ran into like off in the distance, there was like circles of kangaroos, and we started looking closer, and they were standing in circles, boxing each other in the
yeah.
middle. And the kangaroo just runs up, goes in the middle, and just starts boxing. He's
fighting.
Kangaroo. Yeah, they were just like fighting circles. We were just watching this like boxing ring of
They're
kangaroos.
crazy animals, eh?
It was so crazy.
Dude.
they are
But
interesting.
that was like the most outback moment I had.
Oh, yeah,
the
that's
rest of
pretty
it was
outback.
in cities for the
Yeah.
most part.
you get up to like Darwin and like the north end of Australia, up in Cairns and stuff, and it's polarizing. There's no like city folk really, like up in Darwin and stuff. Like everyone's like, it's really Australian. It's sort of like what you'd see in like, I don't know, Crocodile Dundee or whatever. And you know that it's really dangerous. Actually, like there's lots of like dangerous wildlife up there and everything. It's sick, man.
Dude.
Yeah. If
it's
you ever
really
come
cool.
up, we'll have to sort of show you around.
All right.
It'll be dope.
I'll come find you guys.
Yeah, that'd be
dude.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a different experience for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very Australian. Yeah.
I think the farthest that way I went was Noosa.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Okay.
I had a
Noosa's
really good
nice.
time. Yeah. I stayed, there was a, do you guys know the brand Morning Tide?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
The counter guy at the tattoo shop that I first worked at was the lead singer of Morning Tide.
Okay.
And his parents were from Noosa, so we went and stayed at their house. I actually went on tour with Morning Tide while I was living there.
Sick.
And, we stayed at their family's house, and it was like so cool. Like some of the rooms didn't have windows. It was like kind of like a beach house, and there's like geckos on the ceiling while we were sleeping. One fell off on my face while I was like sleeping. There was a snake in the living room one morning, like hiding behind the coffee machine, and the dog, their family dog, had like killed a turkey and ran inside with it on Christmas morning. It was like just
That's heavy,
the
man.
most outback, but like in a house experience I had while I was there.
That's interesting, eh? Yeah, those geckos are like everywhere. All in your house. I've got like a family of geckos that live in my house, and they like live in the air conditioner unit like above my TV, and they run and they have like domestic violence. Like they have like there's
That's
a
what
full
was happening.
family. Yeah,
They were
like the
fighting
gecko-
above me.
Yeah, they
on
do.
the ceiling, they were like making this like
Yeah.
like noise, and they were biting each other. And one of them threw one of them off the ceiling. And he landed on
Yeah,
my
dude.
face.
Yeah, they fight.
Yeah.
It's like a full they have like full domestics and shit. Sometimes little babies and shit will like go and then I don't know. It's crazy out here,
There's
man.
always one without a tail or something like that. It's pretty
Yeah.
fucked up.
It was
Yeah.
cool though.
Oh man, I'm so glad that you've like experienced a little bit of like Australiana,
Yeah.
culture and stuff. That's so funny, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love Australia.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah. How long were you there that first time?
For a year,
Oh, wow.
and I was gonna stay, but when I got my visa to go there, it took 30 minutes. They accepted it, and I went.
Yep.
And then about 3 months before I was gonna leave, I went to reapply, and at the time you needed to apply like 6 months before or something to extend. So they were like, you have to go home and then reapply. So
Oh.
I had to leave, which sucked.
Okay.
Yeah, fair. Sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long were you gone for? Were you like, I got to get back?
How long? Oh, before I came back
Yeah.
to visit again? About a year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I started coming back. I came back in no, it wasn't even a year. Came back in April, and I went back there in like December.
Yeah,
So like
wild.
6 months, something like
Sick.
that. Yeah.
Love it too much, eh?
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should definitely come up our way when you come again.
I think you'll have just a really different experience.
Yeah.
Like we'll get guest artists come up and work at our shop and stuff, and I'll say to them, like 30 minutes from where I live, there's like a little spot that I know that has like a big wild saltwater crocodile, and so I'll tell the guest artists, I'll say, do you want to go see a salty in the wild? And they'll say, oh yeah. And so I'll take them out to this like spot, and it's a bit I don't know, there's no fences or nothing.
Yeah, it's sketch.
Yeah, it's a bit sketchy, and there's a big crocodile in this fucking thing, and it comes and like looks at you like it wants to grab you, really.
Oh, crazy.
Fucking take your life, but
Yeah.
if you ever come out, we'll fucking take you out there.
All right.
Yeah,
Can't
yeah.
wait to see the salty.
Yeah, his name's Clyde.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's a good
Clyde
name.
the salty.
Yeah, yeah. And he's got because bull crocs, they have 5 or 6 misses, around, all the female crocs around in their territory. So you got to be real careful near the water. You may see Clyde over there, but who knows?
His girlfriend might be
Yeah.
under you.
His girlfriend might be eyeing you up.
Yeah.
One of them. Yeah,
Trying to
he's
get a
got
kiss like Cindy Ray.
That's
I'll give it to him.
Fucking,
Yeah.
that fucking spins me out. Man.
I know.
That's a
It's
crazy
sick.
thing.
It was crazy. It
Yeah.
was so funny.
Oh,
Oh, Bev Robinson, eh?
yeah.
That's so cool.
Because I don't know. Is Danny Robinson still alive?
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah.
It's so cool.
We digress.
I'd love to talk to her actually.
Yeah.
But
You should. She's
yeah,
sweet.
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
She'd be a character. But yeah, have you gone around the world and tattooed like over in Europe and stuff, or?
Yeah. I mean, for my first 10 years of tattooing, I would spend 80% of the year overseas and like 20% in San Francisco.
Yeah, wow.
So I started this like cycle. Every year I would do the same trip. I'd go to Europe for usually 2 months at one point, and then I'd go to Australia and New Zealand for 2 months, and then throughout the year I'd do like little one-off trips, just a week or 2 weeks here and there.
Yes.
But yeah, all over Europe, mostly like Norway, Scandinavia, all over England, Spain, Italy. Go to Iceland every year. Tattooed in Africa,
Wild.
Australia, New Zealand. Yeah, kind of all over the place.
That's sick.
Yeah.
It's a pirate's life for us, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're kind of just like able to go wherever the wind takes us.
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing. I wouldn't have been able to afford to go see all those places otherwise. So
It's
It's
cool.
really
man.
cool.
It's really
Yeah.
sick. Whereabouts in Africa did you tattoo?
in Cape Town.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, a good friend of mine owns a tattoo shop there and puts on a little convention. So it's far. I mean, I would probably do it every year if it wasn't so far, but
Yeah?
I've tried to do it every other year.
Was it really fun?
Yeah, super fun. Yeah, really cool.
It's definitely a long way from here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it took me about like 36 hours to get there, which was I think it's the farthest point from us, from where we are.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I've heard it's a pretty wild place, South Africa.
It's crazy. Yeah, we went to like a safari there, saw just everything you could imagine, and did like some shark cage diving, saw a bunch of great whites, and it's a cool place.
Sick.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah, I'd love to get out there sometime. I've never been to Africa.
Yeah, that's a
should.
big fucking place. Holy.
Yeah.
Been to Egypt too. I
Yeah?
mean, you got to go there.
Yeah.
That's one of the coolest places I've ever been. And how different that part of Africa to like Cape Town is. It's just it's so wild, so different.
For sure. Yeah, I guess that like it's a huge place. A lot of people like they get confused, like, oh yeah, the country Africa. Like, no, it's a continent, dude. There's like
Yeah.
a million countries in that
I
thing.
know. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a really cool place though.
Yeah, I'd love to check it out. My granddad was actually born in Cairo, which is
Oh, really?
such a weird place to be born. But that was like back during when England owned it,
Oh, crazy.
like right after the Second World War.
Yeah, when I went to Egypt, I was like 15, and it was a crazy place. There was like a war going on while I was there.
Really?
We got out of the airport and we're in a van, like going to some resort. We had to we were gonna stay, I don't know, in Cairo, but we had to go to a resort if we wanted to go during the war, which broke out like while we were on our way there. So yeah, we're like driving in this van, and there's literally just like dudes on the side of the highway with like AK-47s standing next to like burning trash cans, and it was like chaos. But then we got to this resort, and it was like super peaceful, and it just super bizarre kind
Yeah.
of place to be at the time.
Yeah, what the hell? You get out of there and you're like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into?
Yeah, it was exciting. I mean, I was 15, so I was pretty ignorant to what was going on. It was, as an adult, would have maybe been a little more scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting when we were kids, we don't really register that shit as much. We're just like, oh, it's fine. You're in
Yeah.
La La Land, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, it's cool, man. It definitely is a pirate's life for us. We can really go anywhere we want with tattooing as long as you, I don't know, put the work in to get there.
Yeah, totally, man.
Yeah. Everyone wants to know a tattooer. Everyone wants to get tattooed.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you have something to bring to the table, I think you
Yeah.
can kind of go anywhere, you know. I think pretty funny before Instagram. I don't know if you guys when did you guys start tattooing?
I've been tattooing for 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I've only been tattooing for like 3.5, so I'm real new to
Okay.
it.
Well, before Instagram, you used to, like, when you'd do a guest spot, you would send a portfolio in the mail to the shop, and they would leave it on the front counter so that clients could come in and see it and like decide to book in with you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now it's like insane. So much access. You go wherever you want and get tattooed.
Yeah,
Or
wild.
do tattoos. But, you know, then it's like you have no clue if you have appointments or anything. You just show up and hope that people booked in because they liked your portfolio. And
Yeah.
Damn, that's so wild. Hey,
It's interesting.
it's a different time.
Yeah.
How tattooing's gone. We've now had to like also take on this full-time job of like social media.
Yeah.
And how it's like, you know, it's fucking hard, man.
It is. It's funny. I think there's like such a buzz around that right now. Like tattooers, I don't know if I'm complaining, I guess, that they're slow and that it's because of social media. And if you just reframe that word to marketing and like you think of tattooing as a business, like most successful businesses need to market somehow, and Instagram is just a marketing tool. Like there's so many other places to market or ways to market, just like going back to being 20, passing out business cards at clubs. Like I think Instagram, I mean, the way tattooing was when I started was like it was all about the location of your shop. If you were on a busy street where people walked, they'd come in, look at your portfolio, decide to get tattooed, and that was it. And if you weren't, then you might be slow because nobody was going to find you. And then now there's like Instagram, and at some point there was this buzz around it being really exciting and people finding new tattooers and coming to get tattooed and collecting and like doing this thing. But I think that's slowed down a little bit. People have like so much access to information now. It's like, how do you stand out? And that's just standard business practice. Like, and at the same time, like in America, tattooing is now seen as a big business and as an art form, where before it was this like underbelly kind of like gnarly thing that almost had no legitimacy. It was cool like that. It was like this secret pirate life, like you said. But, you know, as it's become more accepted and made tattooing like a bigger and maybe arguably a better place, all the business stuff has come with it. And I think it's difficult for people. I mean, it is. It's a lot. It's like so much more work. You can't just sit down and draw all day. You got to do all the other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible. It's a cool it's a cool perspective on it, seeing it as like a marketing tool. And I don't know, it's not worth complaining about. Like people do complain about it. It's interesting, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing it right now. You just flew across the world with microphones to make a YouTube video. Like,
what?
And isn't it fun?
Yeah, it is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's like, yo, you guys tattooing? And we're like, nah.
Yeah, like few people have been like kind of blown away by the fact we're not tattooing over here while we're doing this. I was like, we don't have the fucking time to do that. You know how much energy and work goes into doing just this?
In saying that, we were at a tattoo shop in Los Angeles yesterday that was having a flash day. One of our good friends from Melbourne was working, and they were having a flash day, and they had so many people to tattoo that they didn't have enough tattooers. And I was like, bro, like, fucking pull up a couple of chairs and we'll fucking begin. But we didn't have any gear, you know? So it makes it hard, right?
For sure.
But I was like, we could, you know, definitely get amongst this.
Yeah.
I can't wait to come back and like do some work out here and really like sink my teeth into Americana tattooing and spend some quality time and watch some people do some tats.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome out here, man.
Yeah. On your trip so far, what's some of the like most exciting conversations you've had with people? Is there like I don't know, anything you don't know about tattooing in America or in LA or that Australians would find interesting that you guys have found?
So far, like talking to Theo Mindell,
I was about to say, yeah, Theo.
it was like the closest thing I can put it down to is like feeling like I live a pirate's life, and I've been searching for this thing, and it felt like I just like I followed the X on the map, and then I just dug up like a big like treasure chest, and I just like flicked open the fucking thing, and all the gold was like gleaming, and my eyes, it hurt my eyes so much. Talking to Theo Mindell was like breathtaking, which sounds weird.
Yeah,
It's breathtaking.
He's a wild dude. He's really, really got an interesting way of like looking at it and talking about tattoos that just makes you want to just like, oh man, I gotta go paint. You know?
Yeah.
It's really inspiring.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say him so far has been like a real standout.
Yeah, it was incredible. Just a perspective. He's got a different perspective on everything.
Yeah.
Would like to maybe touch on like your you moving from like the Oakland Bay Area or like that area of the world up in San Fran, like to LA. Like that's an interesting choice of location. It's totally different. Like what made you move down here?
I mean, really, it was just the height of the pandemic. Like, I think I'd worked at Idle Hand for 10 years. And like I said, I've worked pretty much 7 days a week my whole life. So I never thought about moving, never thought about leaving. I loved the shop and loved San Francisco. And the pandemic hit, and it was the first time I'd ever had time off in my life. And I mean, honestly, I just started running out of money and was like, I need to work because I can't eat. And, it was so many things. Like I had moved, I don't know, 10, 15 times while I lived in San Francisco. And just decided the next time I move, I think I should open a shop. And right now during the pandemic, I need to, so that I can tattoo underground a little bit and make some money and eat. And I didn't want to leave California. I didn't want to be any sort of competition with like my friends and family in the Bay. And LA was like the only other big city, San Francisco and LA. So I just decided I'd just try it out. It was kind of a shot in the dark.
Yeah.
And it was a great choice. I'm really glad that I did it. But honestly, it was kind of a blind decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting because like Enjoy Tattoos has been here for 4 years now.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it's sick. You guys are about to move. Should we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we're going to move to Highland Park. When I moved here, I literally picked this location because it's right off the freeway. It's very central to all the main kind of hip neighborhoods. And I was just like, I don't know anything about LA. I don't know where to pick a spot. I'm just going to pick something central. And, once I learn more, if I want to change, I'll change. And I've learned more. I like Highland Park, the neighborhood that I live in. I just really like it. Reminds me of home. Feels like Northern California a little bit. Lots of trees and hills and families and like a very communal vibe. And I just want to be a part of the community there and be close to home. And we're going to move over there.
Nice.
Does all your family still live up like north of San Francisco?
Yeah, they all live in Sonoma County.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever head up there to go and see those guys?
Yeah, like twice a month. I was just there 2 days ago.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, rad.
I flew back for this.
Oh, really?
Unreal. What an honor.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. That's cool.
Yeah, really
man.
appreciate it, Austin.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate it.
Damn, it's cool. Like, it's cool because you like opened the studio back through COVID when, you're in a central location, so like everyone can find you, right? Now, you've got a great reputation. You've got a great name. Your experience is paramount with your tattooing. You're able to then go out, you could open up, you could fucking dig a hole down into the fucking center of the earth and like open a tattoo shop and people would find you. You know what I mean? People would come looking for you. You know what I mean?
It's hot down here, but
It's a good marketing angle.
No, but
The only tattoo shop in the middle of the earth.
Yeah. You can have that if you want.
Yeah.
the cool.
Yeah.
Start digging right now.
Yeah, dude.
No, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's a really cool thing and it must feel really rad to, that you've got people that travel to come and get tattooed from you and seek you out. So you're in reality, you could open your studio sort of close to where you're at and you're still going to be busy. You're still going to have a great sort of time,
Yeah, I mean, I'm very fortunate for that. I don't take that for granted, but I have coworkers now. So I think a part of the move is also to support them. It's closer to their homes and access. I mean, you went outside, nobody walks around here. So
Sure.
definitely. And I don't know, even for me, like I like walking out of the shop and going to get a coffee or get a nice bite to eat. And yeah, I'm excited for that. But yeah, in reality, like really with social media now, you could have a shop wherever you are as long as you know how to market or you have somebody that's interested in a tattoo.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, Instagram is a great tool for that. It's interesting because when you started tattooing, there was an Instagram, and now, like, where do you reckon it's going to go? Like within the future, in the next 10 years, like, So like no one preemptively thought about that Instagram would ever be a thing, that we all rely on it, that us as Australians, I can reach out to you and say, hey, Austin, my name's Jake. Would you like to come and do our podcast? You know what I mean? Like shit like that. Like we're so able to, it's so accessible now, but like you just wonder in the next 10 years, like, I don't know. Have you got any insight on kind of what you reckon is going to happen with the tattooing and the industry?
10 years. I mean, I think putting all your eggs in one basket is not smart. Like, I don't ever, even since my personal business growth on Instagram, I've always thought I don't want to rely on this constantly. So, I mean, I've been building mailing lists, emailing lists, like since, I don't know, for the last 10 years to be able to contact clients like outside of the platform. I don't know if, I mean, you see it right now, like the younger demographic of people like prefer TikTok over Instagram, and they're, a lot of people's attention has left there. And I do not like creating content for TikTok. And even though I know it's smart, like I don't know, that whole thing is like difficult. I think back to the first thing I said, like being nice to people. I mean, you think about actual business strategy, it's customer retention. Like and customer acquisition. How are you going to find your customer? That could be just a business card. It could be Instagram. It could be TikTok. It could be an email. It could be a flash event at a street shop. But how do you get to connect with them, and how do they come back to you? And what does that connection look like? And how do you contact them? Like, for me, I think, I don't know. I don't rely on Instagram. I think it's like a cherry on top of the cake, but you got to have the rest of the cake there because Instagram could disappear. TikTok could disappear. People could stop using Facebook. Like, if we have to recreate ourselves on a new platform, like, what does that look like for your business? Does it fail because you lost everything you had here? And how do you keep that? What is that? Yeah. So, I don't know where it's going to go, but I've been thinking about it since it started and trying to make sure that, right now I book all my appointments from email. I tell people I have availability or tell them about flash events. I don't ever put it on Instagram.
Okay.
And I think that's really important because Instagram also like keeps you, like when I post something on Instagram, it shows maximum 20% of my following something.
Yeah.
So the other 80% don't even know that I have an appointment or whatever. So you don't even have access to getting those people. And I mean, I don't know, like advice for tattooers, there's this concept like 1,000 loyal customers, and it's like something that merchandise companies think about. But if you have like 1,000 people that really love your business, you can have like an extremely successful, like lifelong business. So if you can cultivate a relationship somehow with 1,000 clients, whether that's a mailing list or, people that come in your shop or whatever it is, I think you can be quite successful. So
yeah,
I have no clue where it's going to go. But I think people that put all their eggs in one basket, like, are feeling it right now. Like, oh, Instagram's not performing the way I want. I'm not having the clients I want. And that's because all your eggs in one basket, that's falling apart or being maybe oversaturated.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a very good point. I think that whole mailing list idea is really smart too. And it's definitely a true thing. Like, Instagram really doesn't show your shit to all the people that follow you. I find like it's maybe a 10th, if even.
Yeah. I mean, they want you to pay for advertising.
Yeah, it's stupid.
I mean, that's another thing you can do. I do that, not for tattoos, but for like merchandise that we sell and stuff. And it's insane how much money you have to spend to, I've reached like 90% of my following with like a certain ad campaign, and the amount of money it costs to reach that many people. That's why Instagram's not showing you to everyone, because they know if you pay us, we'll show everybody your shit.
holding your followers ransom.
Yeah, and if you're not in a financial position to be able to do that, then, it's not a great tool.
That's interesting, eh?
It's interesting that it's changed, though, as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like in the, 5 years ago, it was a completely different thing. to like what it is today. And it's, your followers are held at ransom on like what they can see.
Yeah. Hashtags are dead.
Well, because it was made for being social, but now it's a business tool mostly. You know, people use it socially, but I mean, the people that use it socially, like, think about it. If you have like 300 friends and they all follow you, they're all going to see your post. Like, but when you're a business and you have thousands of people following you, Instagram knows you're a business. And they're like, you're not using this for social, you're using this for business. So here's your business tools. And if you're not using the tools, then you're just a suffering business on the platform.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It is.
It's cool, like coming into tattooing though, like in those early days before Instagram, it's given you like a skill set to be able to maneuver this and say, it doesn't even matter. Like if Instagram failed tomorrow, you know, you'd be just fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That's the thing. Like if I had a tattooer in front of me right now saying like, I'm struggling, like I can't get tattoos, like Instagram, blah, 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 blah. It's like, go outside and talk to somebody and ask them if they want a skull tattoo for $100. They're going to come in and get it. Like what's stopping you from putting food on your table? Put a post on Craigslist, which is your guys' Gumtree. Say like,
The Gumtree tats.
yeah, I'm doing $100 tattoos. Here's the flash. Like you're going to get calls. Like, you know, go out and pass out business cards, meet people, talk to people. Like we're all still humans. We all still connect. It's just, how are you connecting with them?
Yeah.
People got lazy. They think, I think that I'm really lucky that I got to experience tattooing before Instagram, because the hustle that I had before Instagram is still there on Instagram.
Yeah.
And it's not Instagram that's creating, you know, this momentum. It's like hustling, and how are you hustling and where are you doing it? And I think people just, I don't want to say lazy, because I think people that started with having that tool and then the tool changing, like don't know what the other option is, you know?
Sure.
And then like all the people you've met on this trip that are on this podcast, like were there pre that tool, or at least experienced a lot of tattooing before it. And that tool is just like an annoying thing you have to do. You know, those people are like, I know how to do this. I'm going to find people. Like this is just something on top that I have to do.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's plenty of people that want tattoos. You just got to go find them. And if you're doing it the same way everybody else is, then you're just fighting with everybody, you know, for the same work.
Yeah. You got to go somewhere that everyone else isn't.
I love, I don't know. I feel like it's a great perspective to have. And I don't know, I think people are really going to get a lot of hearing this episode.
Yeah.
And we can all like go about thinking of different ways where we can like, I don't know, potentially, grow our business or whatever, and potentially leave Instagram behind. Like without us, Instagram's nothing, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's all just connecting and inspiring. Like that's all that it is. Like, you know, it can go both ways. You can go and connect with somebody and inspire them to come get a tattoo, or you can create some content that inspires them to come connect with you. But if it's not just Instagram, like you can do it in person, like walk around, go to the coffee shop, talk to people. Like you look like a freak, people are going to ask you questions. You tell them you tattoo, they're going to, every tattooer has this experience. Like everywhere you go, somebody's like, are you a tattooer? Oh, I want a tattoo. Like boom, client.
Yeah.
Like convert that.
Yes.
And just go out and do it. And it happens on Instagram easier because you can, but that's like the thing I think that's happening right now is like businesses are being more social on Instagram, and they're figuring out ways to connect deeper and inspire people deeper by creating these reels and videos, because they're talking to a real person and they're like, wow, I like this guy. It's like they're at the coffee shop with you. And that's the connection that is difficult for tattooers, where they're like, oh, I used to post a picture of a tattoo and then I'd get 100 appointments. And now you post a picture of a tattoo, but this guy's in a video talking like, hey, it's good to meet you. Like, you should come get a tattoo. And they're like, oh, wow, I feel like I know this guy. I'm going to go get tattooed by him. And you don't have to do it on Instagram if that's uncomfortable for you. Just walk out of your house every day and go meet somebody and talk to them. And back to the first thing we talked about, it's all about the client's experience and the intention that you're putting into it. If the only intention that you have is as lazy as just posting a photo on the internet and you're not willing to connect with your client, then they might go connect with somebody else instead. And I don't know.
For sure.
Yeah. I think it's a really, really good piece of advice for a lot of young tattooers who maybe haven't experienced, the pre-Instagram era. It's like you said, they may not just be lazy, but they just may not know there's like an alternative, or may haven't even thought about it. They thought like, oh, this is just the way it is,
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is, I don't know if you guys connect with this, but I think a lot of tattooers market themselves for other tattooers. Like they want to be accepted into this community and like praised by their fellow tattooers, which why wouldn't you? And I totally understand that. But one of the biggest things I started doing and that I learned was like trying to figure out how to connect with my clients and how to create content that my clients connect with instead of other tattooers. And I had a social media manager tell me that. He was like posting, I was trying to get him to like post pictures for me so I could spend more time focusing on the shop. And he would send me a picture like, hey, I'm going to post this. And I'd be like, no, you can't see like the lines or like the whip shading isn't there. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, well, I want you to be able to see this stuff and that stuff. And he was like, why? This is a good picture. And I realized it was for tattooers. I'm like, I want other tattooers to see this like skill I'm doing or this thing. And he was like, dude, most clients are not seeing this. Are you posting photos for tattooers? And I was like, I want them to see it. And he's like, how many tattooers do you tattoo a year? And I'm like, I don't know, 5. And he's like, you should be posting for a picture that the clients are going to connect with, not tattooers. And I don't know, it just hit me because I was like, yeah, I mean, if I want to put food on the table and I'm using this tool to market, I need to market to the people that are putting the food on the table and not to my friends, because my friends are my friends and we're going to work together and they're going to see my tattoos and they like me. I'm not using this tool to make friends. I'm using it to like build a clientele. And
It's really interesting, actually.
That's fucking huge, eh?
Yeah.
dude, it blew my fucking mind.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, you're so right.
It's incredible, man.
Yeah. It's definitely something we overlook. Sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah,
Where-
it is. I mean, it can be a double-edged sword, I mean, like if most of your business is like doing guest spots and doing these things, like you definitely want tattooers to pay attention to you. But I mean, we're a big community. I think it all comes down to like personal connection. It's like, are you going to tattoo shops, getting tattooed by people, meeting tattooers, like connecting with them as a person, or are you just connecting on the internet?
Yeah.
And same with your clients. Like, are you figuring out how to connect with them and like how to inspire them, and what is it like in person, or is it just the internet? Because if your whole life is just the internet, like this is a very intimate, personal, like vulnerable situation, and if you focus on how to do good there, it'll probably transfer to your marketing and it will all cycle.
That's a very, very insightful way of looking at it. And I think we'll leave it there. I think that's a really good note to end on, man. Thanks so much for having us in your shop, and I know sharing some wisdom with us. That was really, really sick, dude.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thanks for coming to see me.
It's
It's
incredible. It's incredible to be out here talking to you. And yeah, I feel like I've learned heaps.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I feel like I'm feeling inspired to like alter my way of thought when it comes to how I treat my customers, or like how I talk to my customers. You know what I mean? With like the marketing side of things and just like the whole experience side of things.
Yeah.
Austin, you got it going on, man. Your shop's sick. We love what you do. Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks
so
you guys.
much, dude.
This was really awesome.
Any last words?
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like we talked about business a lot, and I like that. But, I think the biggest take from this, for me, even just thinking about what we talked about, is like, we're all living organisms, and like making sure that you're connecting with people and actually caring about whatever you're doing. Just take that with you. It's not just about Instagram. Be nice to people.
100%. Be kind.
On
Be
that,
humble.
Rats get fat. See you later.
Bye-bye.